What is up, everybody? This is Recap Rewind. I'm J-Lag.
And I'm NB.
And this episode is recapping and reviewing Riverdale Season 4, Episode 2. And it's called Chapter 59, Fast Times at Riverdale High.
And don't forget, guys, stick around for the ending because we are going to go through our recap roundups, our best moments, our MVPs, and we finally have like good moments and good MVPs. And I'm so excited for this season because it's so freaking good. Also, guys, don't forget we're having a contest right now. It's an iTunes contest. So how you can enter is you go to iTunes, you type in Recap Rewind Riverdale, you leave us a 5-star review, and you basically enter into a contest for a chance to win a $50 Amazon gift card and a pop socket. So all it requires is just like drop a 5-star review if you like us. That's it.
And as always, to our continuing listeners and our brand new ones, thank you for joining us. Don't forget to like, comment, as NB mentioned, and subscribe to the channel. Let's get into the episode.
Oh my God. What did you think?
I loved it. I think it's just such a refreshing season. I feel like a breath of fresh air. Like, that's how I feel about the show right now.
I feel like a whole new world.
Yeah, 100.
Like, what show am I watching right now? Because I fucking love it.
It's just so, it is so different from season 3 and even season 2. Like,
even season 2, yeah.
It just feels different. The writers really, really like took their time to figure shit out. They like sobered up. They went to like AA and like they realized that they were like crazy last season, and now they're like back on track. And I'm so excited. Like,
you know, there's something that I kept bringing up last season, and I kept saying how certain storylines or certain like scenes always lack like the sense of closure, or like storylines, like obviously like big storylines weren't even closed up, but like for example today when you know Reggie had his fight with his dad, the whole time I'm like, bro, like Reggie's like triple his size of the dad, like go beat him up, like he's bigger. And it was just funny how in the end like they kind of all wrapped it up with Reggie being like, but whatever, like I'm double his size anyway, so like I'm good. And I just love those little things that kind of they're kind of answering my question as the audience, because I'm like, okay, like Reggie is bigger, like he would beat up his own dad, but like it just, everything ends up making sense. And I can already feel that in the second episode, you know?
Yeah, for sure. It just feels,
so
it
impressed.
feels so fresh. I'm so excited to get into it with you guys. So let's start right off the top. So the core 4 is hanging out with Pops with Archie. And like to your point, I really love the fact that they still weaved in, you know, the fact that, you know, the Fred Andrews storyline was still kind of tapering off this episode. And, you know, Jughead mentions, you know, like every day Archie got stronger and he's a fighter, so he's gonna keep like,
I love
moving
that
forward.
They weaved that in so beautifully, because I was actually wondering how they were gonna kind of connect those two episodes together without making his death feel very like distant. Exactly. But they did it perfectly. Yeah,
they did a really good job with that. And so now they're all rearing up for the first day of school, because that happened obviously July 4th. So this is skipping to September. They're all getting back to school and they're getting ready to go. So first it starts off with them at the El Royale. And by them, I mean Mad Dog and Archie, and they're boxing. And Archie's like, yo, you want to go to school with me? And Mad Dog's out here like,
this.
I don't think I want to go to school. Like, I was literally in jail.
He's like, did you watch season 3? He's like, I basically went through like everything in the world. He's like, I don't know if school's right for me.
I like ran away from jail, and I got out of jail, and then I got captured again, and I was fighting in a ring.
I can't even go back there. It gives me anxiety.
What do you think of all the crazy shit they were doing? It is insane. But anyway, so Archie tries to get him to come and play football. He's like, why don't you come to school with me and like see how you feel? Your brother, he mentions his brother is starting his freshman year, which just quickly as we're talking about it, do you feel like they're going to do some sort of like second gen Riverdale?
I think so. Because when they mentioned that, I was like, whoa, that's so random. Because like Mad Dog is kind of random, and then for them to like insert his younger brother into the storyline, and now we have Jelly Bean. So yeah, I definitely feel like they're sort of bringing in this like next gen, which I'm totally down for that.
Totally into it. I'm really excited to see if that kind of becomes a storyline as well, because he still hasn't been introduced. Like the brother hasn't been introduced yet, but like I'm sure they mentioned it for a reason.
We also get Mad Dog's real name.
Yes. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. But first, we'll talk about like kind of everybody else's character. So Betty's now working with Charles, which we didn't get to see in the first episode, but now we know that she's been working with Charles to kind of find her mom and figure that whole situation out. And I'm gonna like, these are the moments where I feel like, you know, as a Riverdale watcher, you would be like, oh my God, I can't believe an FBI agent is working with a high school student. But considering the shit that happened last season, I'm like, I'm good. Like,
yeah,
I
it's
will
funny
go
that
with
you
it.
said that because
You know?
I did, you know, for sure. I was like, okay. I was starting to feel like anxious feeling again. I was like getting like sweaty and like nervous. And I was like PTSD from season 3. But then I'm like, you know what? I'm like, this is the only thing they have tied to season 3. Like, I'll give it to them, and I feel like they're gonna wrap it up really quickly.
They did say by next episode
good.
it'll all be wrapped up. Like next episode is gonna be the last farm episode, so I'm looking forward to that. So we find out that Betty's talking to Charles and having that whole situation that kind of comes to fruition later on this episode. And Veronica's now talking to, I think it's a lawyer, and the lawyer comes forward and he says, just letting you know, your dad's about to go into trial, your mom's about to go into trial. It would be really good if you can either make a statement or like stand up for one of them and defend one of them. And Veronica like really makes like a hard stance and says, nope, I don't care. Like, I'm gonna no comment this whole situation. Like, I'm gonna be neutral. I'm not doing anything. And she kind of leaves it at that. How did you feel about the fact that she didn't even band behind her mom at this point?
I mean, considering what happened last season, like I understood where she came from. Like she was like, I want to be Switzerland. Like I want to be in the middle. But I figured by the end of it, she would sort of have this more like empowering platform. Right. Like I kind of expected her kind of path this episode. Okay. So I wasn't too shocked.
So anyway, she doesn't want to take sides in the beginning of the episode. Then it cuts to our girl Cheryl, who is still talking to JJ. She's like, JJ, what should I be wearing for our first day of school?
Dude,
like,
how does this guy's body like even like how is it still like there?
I guess it's like formaldehyde. Like it's like pickled. Like he's pickled at this point. So
ew.
I guess
he's
he's just
sitting
like
perfectly
there.
Upright though.
I know, it's creepy. Like he's just sitting in a creepy wheelchair. Like that's Nana Rose's chair.
Like that's Nana's chair. Like you fucking disrespected her like that. Like really?
How dare you?
Like where did Nana go? When she comes back, she's gonna need her chair.
She'll be crawling around the floor like in that one season. Anyway, then it cuts to the Pembroke, and I think that this is probably, if I want to be nitpicky about anything, this is probably the most random cut, even though I thought it was really adorable. But like suddenly they're all sitting at the Pembroke and they're all just hanging out. It's the core 4, and like Betty's like, everything is gonna change. Like they've never had like, and that's the thing. The only reason why I'm saying it's such a weird, like it was so jarring to me, is because they should have had these every single damn episode, and instead we got season. Crazy Gargoyle Kings.
Yeah.
But having them sit and chill and talk is unfamiliar to me. Like how is that possible? How
this whole episode very much felt like that. There were so many beats and pauses, and again, like with last week's premiere, like it felt so slow. And I'm like, I love the pace, don't get me wrong, but I'm like, it's slow because last season was on fucking acid. It was, like, you know, like you get these little quiet moments, and I'm like, this is what they should be talking about. Like they're in your senior year. Like Veronica's like, oh my God, like last, like hurrah. Like I'm like, I wanted this.
This is
and
all we wanted.
I don't know how I feel about this right now because it's such a shock to my system.
Exactly. So anyway,
so many emotions.
Betty's like being really cute, and she's talking about like, oh my God, it's our like last year, and you know, in 24 hours we're all gonna like our lives are gonna change, and Veronica's getting all nostalgic and stuff, and it is a cool moment to see because it really is gonna be the end of their high school season, and it's gonna be really interesting to see what happens next. Anyway, the last thing that is said, which I thought was kind of funny, and how it segues was kind of funny, is Betty's like, but at least we have tonight. And then she literally starts making out.
Guys, like no one does this with their friends. Like they start making out in the corner, and like Varchie's like, all right, I guess we're going to go to the room now. Like,
exactly. I was like, that? Okay. Chill. Like you don't need all of that.
I mean, it was cute to like start off the episode with this huge like sex montage, and I was like, okay, I'm down. Like, there's no parents around, so like, of course, like, amazing.
Of course, all the shippers were having boners for like a good minute and a half because like everybody got what they wanted. Like Varchie was on point, BUGHEAD was on point, making out, having sex, whatever. Sick. Next morning, they probably had too much sex because they be late for school, though. They were late for school for show. So they're all running to class and they bump into the brand new principal, Mr. Honey. And he's mean. Like, he's not a nice guy.
He's hot. I think he's so freaking hot.
Do you
I love
still think
him.
he's hot even after all these years?
Oh my God.
Like they really
Totally.
aged him. I feel like they aged him.
They did. He aged himself. Like, he definitely got older.
Yeah.
Like, he was a baby in Dawson's Creek. But no,
Sure.
I like his storyline, and I feel like they're pinning him to be this really evil guy. But I feel like he's gonna have this really cute story, like, in the end. You know.
I'm sure he's gonna have to have a good moment because like this episode was like too extreme for like 45 minutes of my life. Like I was like, he's really.
But
extreme.
in all fairness to him, like, he's coming into the school that was like literally like it was on acid last season. So he's like,
yeah.
You know, I have to like put everyone back into shape and like get this school back into like what it's supposed to be, a fucking school.
Yeah. He does.
So I get it. Like,
he definitely like makes a lot of good points. But anyway, he books them for like being late. He's like, make sure you never do this again. He was like pretty mean about everything.
Also, the hallway was like eerily quiet. Like, it's not that quiet. Like, once the bell goes, like there's still people
like
lurking in the halls.
They were like 25 minutes late probably.
The lights were off. I was like, is it even school time?
Anyway, so then it cuts to Reggie, and he's talking to the football coach in the locker rooms, and that's when Archie introduces Mad Dog, and
Reggie's like this.
He's like confused.
He's like, yo, man, I'm so excited to be the #1 player this season. Yeah, no one's even bigger than me. I'm the biggest one. And then they're like,
and then he walks in, he's like, oh.
And Mad Dog's like, hey guys. He's like, I'm joining the team.
He's like, fuck. He's like, oh, your abs are on point. Oh. So anyway, he introduces him and he's like, yo, can he be a part of the football team? And the coach is like, absolutely. With that body, 100%. Like, let's do it. Like, he doesn't even give him an audition. He's just like, you're a part of the team. And we get Mad Dog's name, which is funny because I know during Comic-Con they were teasing the fact that we get Mad Dog's name. Yeah. And it's not even that consequential, but like, cool. Now he's not called Mad Dog. I'm probably going to keep calling him Mad Dog because his real name is Monroe Miller. And I don't feel like calling him Monroe. Like, it's a cute name. It's a hot name. I will say it's a hot name.
Like, damn. Okay.
Monroe. Okay. Okay, Monroe. Yeah. So I'm down for it, but at the same time, I'm probably gonna call him Mad Dog for the rest of the season. So, yeah, like you said, Reggie's face was basically like, "Bah." Like, I want to make a GIF of it because he was so shocked. It was really good. So then it cuts to Kevin and Betty. One of my favorite setups of like their storyline. He walks in awkwardly into the blue and gold and he's like, yo, I am so sorry about what happened last season. And she's like, and then Betty's like, oh, you mean when you grabbed me by the ankles to get a lobotomy?
Literally almost killed her. Yeah, like, he's like, sorry about that. He's like how can I make it up to you?
Bro, how would you have even lived through your life knowing that you lobotomized your best friend?
Yeah, no, it was too much. That's another moment in this episode where I felt like I was watching a different show because those two things didn't add up. Like, for someone like Kevin who went through what he did in season 3, you can't come back from that shit. Like, he's either gonna come back really fucked up and like not the same kid, or like, I don't know, like he's gonna be like just not Kevin because you can't come back from something like that. Yeah. So for him to be in that room and like asking for forgiveness, I'm like, do you even remember what you did though? Like, let's break it down.
Exactly. And that's the thing. Like, I feel like if anybody needs to apologize to anybody, well, there's two things. Number one, like, the writers need to apologize to Kevin's character for like totally ruining him for the last 3 seasons. And number two, who's gonna make him apologize to the entire Riverdale fandom for being a piece of shit? Like, all this time.
And the thing is, like, too, like, when he came in to say, like, he didn't even say, like, girl, I'm gonna make it up to you. I'm gonna go freaking expose this farm for what? Like, he didn't even, like...
Right.
He didn't really, like, offer anything. He was just like, my bad. I fucked up.
Exactly.
I'm just a kid.
She's like, okay, fine, sign up. Yeah, well, whatever. But... And I guess that's what leads in, because I had the same question. I was like, yo, like, how are you going to make it up to her? Like, how are you only talking for the first time, like, this episode, if you, like, didn't talk all summer long? Which is kind of funny because he was in the backyard with Archie and, like, everybody at the very end of last episode.
Didn't you guys talk?
Like, so maybe, like, they just didn't even, like, talk about stuff. But, I mean, whatever. That was a standalone episode, so, like, we're not going to, like, go into that. But anyway... we'll talk about that a little bit later, but basically he's trying to make amends with Betty at this point, and I was like, okay. And already I was like, he's sketchy. He's making sketchy eyes right now. I already knew something was up with
That's
him.
the thing. Like, I just don't trust him because like there were so many moments in season 3 where like you thought he was like good, and then he went and fucked everyone over. So
yeah. So anyway, so we'll get to that later. Then it cuts to Jughead getting called into Principal Honey's office. And
Honey,
he gets offered to study writing specifically at Stonewall Prep, which is like a school, like a prep school, like somewhere else. Like it's like out of town, whatever. And this hot Stonewall daddy, I don't know if you thought he was hot, but like Mr.
Really hot.
Chippy,
Between
I was like,
Honey and Chippy, like I was like, these teachers are on point.
Everybody was so sexy this episode. I was like,
is coming in hot.
I don't even know if it's a full moon or something, but like
it is actually a full moon.
My body be like, ooh, like so on. Anyway, so then it cuts to Veronica and Archie, and they're talking, in like just like in the hallways. They're like, oh hey girl, like hey boy, and then these paparazzi start to corner them, and one like runs down like the hallway. And then she has to pull the like fire alarm to get them like distracted so she can run into a classroom. But I was like, yo, where Mr. Honey at? Like he be like slacking on this security in the freaking school. Cause like it was like 55.
It was a little far fetched. Yeah,
like it was like
all these reporters.
like freaking.
How did they get
paparazzi
to the hallway? Like it was a little random.
And they're like Veronica, like so crazy. Anyway, whatever. Then it cuts to CHONI. So Tony and Cheryl both visit Mr. Honey. And she's like, as school president, welcome to Riverdale High. She brings him a little basket. And he's like, cool, thanks. By the way, I know that you want to do a dance, but it's canceled. It be canceled. And she's like, for why? Which I loved. Like,
I love when she said that.
Amazing lines like the entire episode. Like, I love Cheryl. Welcome back. We miss you so much.
I think this is definitely gearing up for like a Cheryl spinoff for sure.
Or like that, or just like a big showdown between her and Honey. But like definitely making her such an entertaining character to watch. Even watching I watched episode 1 again, like very hard, but I did. And she's such an energy. She really is.
But that's what
like,
I mean. I feel like she can carry a show. Yeah. So they're gonna give her a spinoff. Like she's magic on screen. So
I hope so.
Like why not? You know?
Yeah. So she was fun to watch. She was like, "For why are you doing this to me?" And he basically says like, literally last dance you guys had, people died. Like there's.
He's like, don't you remember?
There's no way around it. Like people literally were dead on the floor in the bathroom. We're not doing that again. And
like Taken, that was last year, guys.
That was last year. Like that would ruin an entire school. Like if people died in a school, they would shut down a school.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Shut down the whole fucking district, like let alone the school.
Like how do you come back from that? Anyway, whatever. Moving on. And I thought it was really funny because Cheryl at this point, she tries to pull like the Jason card, and she was like, you know, like when my brother Jason was like dead, and like true. You know, it made me happy again. And he's like, okay, like it
made the town happy, and he's like, nah.
He's like, I don't give a shit. He's like, that's too bad, which I thought was funny. And
he was definitely being petty though. Like there's something there for sure.
He's like angry. Maybe he's spiteful against the Blossom family. Like there must be something there.
She's a rich girl.
Yeah, there must be some history there for sure. So. Anyway, then we get a clip from CW's All-American television show, and everybody's playing football. Shout out. It's like literally like football moments.
Love it.
But what we get from this mainly is, you know, Mad Dog's killing it obviously in his tryouts or whatever the first game, and Reggie's because of that, like Reggie's like not doing as well, and he's kind of tripping up and stuff. And all you hear is like Reggie's dad being like, "Get the fuck over here, you fucking idiot! Get over here!" I was like, "Oh my god!"
It was so extra.
I was like, childhood memories. This is scarring me.
This is like a practice. Like it's not even a full game. Like so you fucked up those fucking sprints.
That being said, I feel like anyone who's had like ethnic parents will understand that there's like such a level of that on so many degrees. People are like, "You stupid idiot."
It was you know, what they did with his storyline in this episode was really beautiful.
Yeah.
Not this moment, obviously, but like what it leads to. So I can really, really appreciate it. And
for sure.
I like the overbearing, like abusive parent storyline for high school kids, because like it does happen where like these
Yeah.
parents put these like extreme expectations on these kids.
Yeah.
You know, like it's a very real storyline. So I'm glad they did it.
I'm definitely glad they addressed it. So anyway, Reggie's dad is a pure dick. Like, he's such a douchebag. And I think there was an allusion to it. So it wasn't kind of like out of nowhere. I think we did get a little bit of that last season.
Yeah.
Like, there was kind of like some talk about it when he was with Veronica. But this like got super aggressive this episode. Anyway, so we get that. And that's when Archie and Mad Dog kind of like see it from the corner of their eye. They're like, what the hell's going on over there? It's so awkward and so embarrassing. I felt so bad for Reggie. Anyway, then it cuts to Veronica in the locker rooms, and she sees a guy basically trying to take pictures like in the locker room, and I'm like, bro, that was the worst plan ever. Like, he's out here with like
how are you not gonna get seen? Like
pure
idiot.
16 millimeter film camera. Like,
he's like click click.
he's
click,
like click
snap,
click
snap,
click
snap,
click,
roll,
wind,
roll.
like. And so she books him, and she was like, Vixens, this boy is in here like snooping on us. And he admits that, you know, some Riverdale.com website is starting to like send her like, you know, like post all this stuff, and like they offered him money. I wonder if that site's actually live, and I wonder if they're actually like doing that on the side.
River Gossip or River?
I think it was like RiverdaleGossip.com or some shit like that. I don't know, but it would be cool if any of you guys like checked it out to see if like they created a fake website, because that'd be amazing. And I wish more shows did that.
River Rumor, is it?
RiverdaleRumors.com?
Something like that.
Something like that. Let us know, guys, in the comments below. So anyway, she trashes the camera. She's like, go fuck yourself, whatever. Then it cuts to Reggie, and he just gets very teeth, like right away at Mad Dog, who has like the most ripply, glistening.
Hey, Mad Dog looked so effing good. And
shiny.
then Reggie just like snaps on him. He's like, yo, you fucking idiot. You got 8 abs and I only got 6. Like, he was just like, so pissed. He's like, what? Oh, your name is Mad Dog? Oh, you were from jail?
Yeah.
Did you like, you know, in the showers?
Did you like drop soap or whatever? Like a reach. Yeah, he was just being like a kid. Insult. But like, yeah, Monroe got abs for days. I was living for that. But anyway, Mad Dog dips because he's like, y'all, if you keep talking like that, I will go back to jail. So I'm going to leave. So he leaves. And then, yeah, Archie basically says like, dude, what the hell's wrong with you? Like, calm the fuck down. And Reggie does kind of like, he doesn't make a point. He basically says like, I tried so hard to like be like the lead, and now I'm like not the lead, and like now he's like stepping on my game, and I'm like, weak excuse, stop being such a baby, whatever.
Yeah.
Then it cuts to Jughead and FP at home, and Mr. Chippy, hot Mr. Chippy, is like talking to FP, and he's like, I just wanted to try again to see if we can like talk about this or whatever. And first Jughead's like, nah, I'm not about this. Like, I really don't want it. I don't want to go there. And FB basically says like, sit down, like, let's like hear him out. Let's see what he has to say. As a side note, is Betty living at their house? Like, is that?
I mean, I guess like that's the assumption because she doesn't have a family.
She doesn't have a family. She doesn't have a house. Like, her mom left her, or her mom's like gone. But like, what's gonna happen when she comes back? Anyway, whatever. Lots of questions to ask for next episode. Then it cuts to Betty talking to Charles again. And she finds these papers that show that Kevin is being monitored essentially by Charles. Like, there was like a bug on him, or like they bugged his phone or something.
He like left the documents like open on
wide
the table.
Open.
And then he's like, why would you go through my classified top secret documents?
I was like, you left
okay.
them right on the fucking table. So she's going to look. I would look too. And so she's like, oh, I can't believe that you've been like spying on him. And like, he's been in contact with Fangs. And so he tells her that, you know, Kevin isn't as innocent as you might think he is. He's still in contact with Fangs. He's still in contact with the farm, and he's still kind of like trying to get in there. And Betty's like, well, let's try to catch him in the act. Let's say something or do something that will make him feel like, you know, we have a lead, and then see what happens from there. So they have a plan set up, but we'll talk about it in a second, because now we're going to cut to Tony almost like she was so close to catching Cheryl coming upstairs from the basement and finding the dead body.
First of all, and I'll just say this right here because we do talk about it after too, but
right,
like seeing where the Jason's body was and where that gate is.
Yeah,
Jason's body's like right there.
It's like right
you can
there.
see it through the gate. Like
you can see his like dead hand. Like if she
like,
covered
could she
it,
not like
she didn't even cover
stuff
it.
him around the corner or something?
Yeah. Or like put a curtain in front of like the gate. Like why does it have to be like wide freaking open? Anyway, whatever. She's like, don't go there. I do love it because I love the Victorian vibe of the Thistle House in the first place.
Sure.
Or Thorncliffe,
for sure.
whichever one it is.
It's creepy.
It reminds me of, you know that story, Bluebeard? Anybody who knows the story of Bluebeard, it's kind of that vibe where it's like, don't go down this hallway. This door is locked. And I feel like maybe they're going to lead up to that because they kind of alluded to it this episode. But I feel like it's all about that, like, discovering the mystery through closed doors.
Secrets are meant to be like found. So someone is definitely going to stumble upon this kid's body for sure.
Yeah.
You know?
So she also gets the idea because she was like, what are you doing down there? And then Cheryl's like, I was praying to my Jesus and my brother. And that's fine. And so she says, as I was meditating or whatever, I thought about the idea of throwing a party instead since we can't do the back to school dance. And I was like, house party. I was like,
we literally called it from the freaking promo.
Yeah. I was like, big ups to us. We fully called that shit. So anyway, she decides to throw the party. And like, that's kind of like the like lead into the rest of the episode. Then it cuts to her slow-mo handing out all the invites, as you mentioned. She's like throwing them in the air. She's like so happy.
Oh, yeah.
So good. She bumps into Mr. Honey and she like basically calls him out. She's like, I know you know me, but like you ain't shit. And then she like walks away. And it was like one of my favorite moments. It's like definitely my favorite line of the episode.
It's going to be a GIF in like 2 seconds.
Yeah. Insert GIF. Like so many GIFable moments this season or this episode. I'm so excited. So anyway, so she's having the party. She's throwing out the invites and she's like, you can't stop me, bitch. And so then it cuts to Stonewall and Jughead and Betty are getting a tour from, I guess, one of the school, like one of the classmates or something. And he already looks like a sketch bag. He already looks like he's 75 years older than he should be at that school. But he's touring around with Jughead. He's very like she or whatever. And he's like, oh, we're doing a reading of Moby Dick. So do you want to come or not? And Jughead's like, yeah, like I read that book like when I was like 10 years old. And Betty's like, pass. I'm not gonna go. Like you guys are. And
weird. They keep calling him Forsyth.
Yes, because like
which sounds like foreskin to me every time someone fucking says it. So,
but that that is awkward. His name. But yeah, it is. They're definitely like leading into that. But going back to what we were talking about earlier, I definitely feel like there is some level, or maybe we didn't talk about this yet, but there is some level of history or lineage that goes along with him being at Stonewall. Like. Yeah. We find out later on about his grandpa being there. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. But anyway, they call him Forsyth, which is a very good point to make. And like there was a reason why they said that specifically. Anyway, there was a funny moment where he was like, let's go to the cafeteria. They have vegan, keto vegan, raw keto vegan, which I thought was funny because it's very like our generation.
Hipster. Yeah.
So then it cuts to the office and Principal Honey and Veronica are now talking. Like he's calling everybody up in this office today. So he basically says like, I'm a snoop and I find all this gossip because I like listen to like PresHilton.com and also this like Riverdale website. And it says that you're the one that was guilty for like all the crimes of your family. Is it true or no? Like he basically tries to grill her. And Veronica's like, you're weird. Like, what's going on? I'm not. And he even says to her, like, you should take a sabbatical to like let everything calm down before you come back to school. Cause like, I'm not about that drama. And Veronica's like, well, I ain't about that drama neither. So like, I don't know what you're talking about. And so she just gets kind of cheesed about the whole situation, which means she's like going to go on a hunt to figure out like, who's talking shit about her because there's like an insider that's kind of spreading all these rumors about her. Anyway, it cuts to Pop's Diner and Kevin and Betty are just like talking and like reminiscing about like episode 1, season 1.
Yeah.
And he's like, you know that one time like I was in your like room for like that one episode and then it never happened again because it became like a sketch bag. Like, and I said that Archie got hot and you had a crush on Archie and it was really cute.
He
and
like basically did the whole scene over again. Like,
yeah,
repeated
basically.
it.
Yeah, it's basically. And then he's like, and then I would like go on Grind him and like hook up with people and like it was so cute. And I was like, okay, like sure, I guess that's like, I don't know how I feel about him reverting all the way back to him being just
like I feel
Betty's
like you
best
guys
friend.
are best friends. Like you guys had more moments than that one night in her room in the episode
like, they
1.
couldn't think
like,
of any other time that they were
like
besties.
cute like trips, like friend trips, or like cute stories. They wrote like something, you know.
Nothing.
He's like, nah, me on grind 'em.
Oh,
Like,
me on Grind 'em.
Okay,
Thanks. So anyway, she ends up saying like, oh, like by the way, like, you know, one of the reasons why I was being so mean to you earlier was because I'm still depressed that my mom's gone, but we have like a break in the case. And he's like, oh, okay. And sure enough, like they're setting him up. The next scene is where Kevin, once again, this man is in the woods again. Like
his preferred location.
Preferred location, woods. Like that's where he meets people. So he meets Fangs. We see Fogarty in like for like 5 seconds. And I was like, oh, he got like 2 seconds of screen time. That's so cute. And then basically Fangs says, give us the name of the informant. And Kevin's like, yo, I don't know who it is, but like, can we be together? And Fangs just says, we don't trust you. Like Edgar doesn't trust you. So if you don't give us a name, then we can't be together. So he basically bribes him and says if he doesn't get that information, then they can't be together.
Like he's not gonna suck his dick, basically.
Yes. Yeah. He's. I ain't going to hook up with you. Yeah. So then, right away, and I'm glad that they did it this way because I was like, are they gonna drag it into this whole I'm gonna catch you, I'm gonna set you up? They literally catch him right away. Betty like flashes the flashlight
she was
in
like
his face.
standing behind him the whole time.
She's like, bitch, what?
She's like in the tree.
Yeah, so she catches him and she's like, get over here, you idiot. So she pulls him in.
She's like, Kevin, really?
She's like, bro, are you fucking serious right now? And he's like, burr, burr. So anyway, we'll talk about that in a second because then we talk to Veronica where we see Veronica and Reggie talking at the speakeasy. And she was like, yo, there was an informant. Like, what's going on? Is it you? Are you the one that's like been talking to these papers? And he's wearing these sunglasses. And he like gets all dramatic about it. He like takes the sunglasses off and he's like, who do you think I am? Like, no, talk to your dad. And he has this big black eye. I'm like, no one's like, you'd think that Veronica, who dated this guy, would be like, why are you wearing sunglasses inside? Are you okay?
Yeah.
Take your glasses off. Instead, it was like the reveal of the episode, like him having this big black eye. And so she was like, oh shit, like your dad beats you. So Archie and Veronica are talking and Archie's like, yo, did like he confess that it was him? And she's like, no, but I'm pretty sure his dad beats him. Like they both made a connection.
So bad.
It's so bad. I know we shouldn't be laughing about this, but like
no.
It's very much like it was like they did try to like I think speed up like the whole story of it all
for sure
to kind of make it self-encapsulated. And so I'm like totally fine with that, but also it was comically quick in that regard.
Yes,
but anyway,
you're right. Yeah.
So Veronica's like, oh shit. Like Archie's like, oh shit, we got to do something about this. Then it cuts to Kevin, Betty, and Charles. And he's interrogating him. And he's like, Kevin's like, all I really wanted to do was see Fangs. I was doing this just to see him. He was like, I was alone all summer long. You never wanted to talk to me. You never answered your phone calls, but Fangs did. And I was like, but at that point in time, like maybe you could have told like the police.
Yeah, like it was such a dumbass excuse.
Like it was a stupid
shady
excuse. If you knew that was the reason why you felt alone from everything and isolated, the only way back would be to tell the truth so people can like trust you again. But anyway, he went about it the wrong way. They wrote it that way, so I'm like, all right, cool. And then and at that point in time, I think I was starting to like sympathize with him a little bit. I was like, okay, I guess I can run with that. Like, it is a kind of a pretty stupid reason why he didn't do anything and like lied to everybody. But I get it. He's alone. He feels lonely. Everybody else ascended without him. Like, he probably didn't really even know that much information until Fang started talking to him again. So Anyway, I don't know. And so Betty and Charles kind of step aside, and Betty's like, I trust him, like everything that he's saying. And Charles is like, no, he's already like a waste suspect. Like they're like, he's probably already still working for him. Like, I don't even know. I don't trust him. And in this moment again, I was like Riverdale daddies, everywhere I go, everywhere I turn, like everywhere I see a frame, there is someone that's sexy and hot. And Charles is like, nah, we're not going to use him. And I'm like, yeah, what else are you not going to do, Charles? He's so cute. Like, everybody is so sexy.
Oh, what? Are you talking about the actor?
Yeah, I'm talking about the actor.
Oh.
Did you not feel like that was a moment for you?
I just didn't understand where you were going with that.
Going with it. Okay.
You were mentioning Kevin. I'm like, what?
I'm like, I'm just trying to like lead into every moment where it's like sexy moments with the daddies of Riverdale. Anyway, whatever. He doesn't trust Kevin at all. He's like, don't do anything about it. Then it cuts to football practice number 2, All-American number 2. And again, Reggie's dad comes in. He's like, yo, you're an idiot. What the hell did you miss that?
And like, this is like, the point where I'm like, where's the coach? Because like his dad fully walks onto the field, which you're not allowed to do. And the coach is like nowhere. Like Coach Clayton, like where the F are you and where's your son Chuck?
Yeah.
Like nowhere to be found. But then Archie steps in.
And he's like,
and Archie's like, don't hurt my friend, okay?
He's like, stop hitting my friend.
That's my friend.
Yeah.
And then I was actually surprised at Reggie's reaction because Reggie was like, shut the fuck up, Archie. He's like, just back away. Like, I was very thrown off because I was like, I thought Reggie would obviously like take Archie's side or be like, dude, like, just let us have a moment or something. But he fully got mad at Archie. You know?
I definitely understand why he did that because I think that naturally, if that were to happen, you're so embarrassed that like you wouldn't want anybody else to see that side of it, especially when Reggie's like already like a bit of a bully at school. He doesn't want to see him, like, it's embarrassing to like understand like why he's being bullied.
I think what caught me off guard was like how authentic that scene was.
Yeah.
Because this is another example of the writing of this episode. Like here I was thinking that was going to be some cheesy ass like scene.
Yeah.
And it was some like really like well done like acting from Charles Melton.
Yeah.
You know, it was just like a really beautiful scene.
It was a really good moment. And I like the fact that they like cut back to the dad and the dad felt really stupid and embarrassed about it all. Because then it makes him feel like he's like humanized. He's not like a pure bully. He obviously like has feelings too. So he's like, oh shit, like people are watching me too. So then it cuts to the reading club at Stonewall and everybody's just like talking. They're like so intellectual and like talking about Moby Dick being like this like symbolic whale and whatever. And then Jughead like literally walks in and he's like, it doesn't mean anything. And then like bomb drop. Everybody's like, yo.
The teacher's like, what? You're so smart.
He's like, I love you. So I thought that was kind of cool that like he just like jumps in and he's like right away. He's like sick. Everybody knows how to read books here. Like it's like Riverdale is like
it's
shit.
Definitely like as it kept going, I was like, he's gonna obviously join because like it just you know he's gonna excel.
He feels
like,
right at home.
Excel there
for sure. So then it cuts to one of.
Oh my god, I died!
I was like, guys, of course. I mean,
thought they
we saw it in the
this
trailer,
wig.
But I feel like I was like, we're doing this, I guess. So Monica Posh, she back and she's like ready to go, with the same ass wig, which I thought that we lost in the last like season. But
can we just talk about like how 10 Hiram Lodge is? I'm like, this guy like is in jail. Like how much daytime does he actually get? Because he's like so freaking 10.
I mean, he gets like that outside, like, you know, like the area,
I guess
the workout area.
I guess he can be there all day.
Yeah, you're tanning, but also like Marcus Wells is probably like on vacation, like all the time. Anyway, so whatever. So Monica Posh comes in, and I love the fact that she was like, this is the only disguise that is going to help people from like not seeing me.
Yeah, she's like, I could only hide from the photographers with this disguise.
Like, how?
Like, yeah, you look that different,
like,
Veronica.
You literally look like Kylie Jenner, like trying to leave her house with a a fake wig on. Like,
Lord of the Met Gala. Like, it's not that different.
So basically, she says like, what did you do? Like, how did you do? And he was like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, did you are you having like a hard time at school because like people are thinking that you're like a lodge? And I don't know if he's the one that leaks the story, but he basically says like, own up to the fact that you're a lodge. Like, this is your life. Like, it's who you are through and through. And you just have to deal with the repercussions of that. Like,
well,
you weren't an innocent girl.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that she's starting to realize that too. Like, she can't blame her dad for everything. Like, she can blame him for kind of coaxing her into doing certain things, but she definitely did a lot of things in retaliation, like what she says later on. She like says the reason why she did the things, but I think that this is a moment where she just like has to come to terms with like taking responsibility for her own actions. And he basically says like, yo, I'm not helping you out of this. Like, this isn't me, this is you. So I kind of like the fact that they put that in there, because the entire time, if we keep blaming Hiram and if she keeps blaming Hiram, we're always going to villainize him as the person who's ruining her life. Whereas, you know, if you do want to take repercussions and take responsibility for what happened last season, like, yeah, Veronica needs to take some responsibility for the things that she did. Anyway, so that cuts down, and then it cuts to the house party.
Finally, we got a party. The only thing missing was the Pussycats, to be honest.
Yes,
otherwise,
agreed.
This party took me right back to season 1.
Season 1 vibes.
Yeah, totally.
For sure. So yeah, whatever. That's an unfortunate situation. We're probably never going to see them again. But
yeah, they're gone for sure.
I do love the fact that Cheryl basically says, she like stands on her little thing and she's like, welcome to the party. I'm just going to let you guys know that like I'm going to start a war with Principal Honey because he's a piece of shit and I hate him. And I just wrote down in this moment, like, this is going to get really bad. Like, he's either going to like make sure that she doesn't go to like college, or he's just going to try to ruin her life. Like, a war between like a student and a principal like doesn't ever end up well. And I'm just worried for our girl Cheryl. Yeah. What do you think about that?
She said something interesting. She was like, I'm going to like cut his head off or something like that. And I was like, oh, that's very like detailed. I wonder if he's actually going to get his head chopped off and like they're going to think they're going to frame Cheryl. Her. Yeah.
I hope that they don't go that way. But anyway, he's like on the hit list now. Like, there's a war between the two of them. I'm really interested to see how that goes, because
I just want to know what the petty level is about. Like, why does he hate her so much, and why does you know what I mean? Like, there's obviously something underlying there, and I just want to get to the bottom of it and see what's up.
And while NB is excited for the petty, like understanding the petty level, I'm here just for the petty level. Like, I'm just here to watch the experience of the pettiness.
Too. Yeah,
because this episode,
because she does it so well
up.
Too.
I was dying of laughter. Okay, so then it cuts to Jughead, Veronica, and Betty, and they're talking about like the Stonewall. And I guess Veronica, because she comes from like money, she's like, yo, Stonewall is so obnoxious, you're gonna hate it there, like, don't go to that school, it's so miserable. And, you know, Betty's like, do whatever you want to do, but at the same time, like, I'm here, so like, why would you want to leave me? So he's kind of struggling a little bit. He's trying to figure out like what he wants to do next. Obviously, it's leading up to the point that he's gonna like decide to go, but whatever. Reggie drunkenly almost gets downstairs. He's literally at the door staring at the body. Like, if he wasn't drunk out of his mind. No,
legit. Like, I could see his hand from the fucking fence. Like,
sticking literally out of the freaking cloth. Like, anyway, so she's like, the other door was locked. She did lock it though,
which was smart. Like, she locked the fence.
She locked that, but she also says like she locked the whole like hallway, but he got into it somehow. Like, he just like broke the door down or something. I don't know. So she's like, get out of here. It's off limits. So he leaves. And so I did like the fact that they kind of left it this mystery that's going to continue for a little bit longer, because I don't think we needed that for this episode, because it was so...
Yeah, and I don't think it would have made sense for Reggie to be the one that finds him, because that kind of just... There's no connection there.
He's like, I already got daddy issues. I can't deal with a dead body right now. Like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
So then it cuts to Kevin and Betty talking at the party, and Betty basically says, like, sorry we interrogated you. And Kevin's like, yo, I totally understand. Like, I was such a douchebag last season. And, like, I get it. And she literally, this moment, I was like, girl, what's wrong with you? That's like a leap of faith. And so she tells him the full truth.
I think it's just Betty. I think it's just, like, it's, again, showing us, like who she really is at her core. Yeah, I was like, girl, you're so stupid. Like, why would you tell this guy?
But then she just, like, tells him straight up. And then she was like, you know, like, my mom's like a secret agent and this is what's happening. And she's like, I'm choosing to believe that I can trust you with this information. And she says, this is what you're going to do to make it up to me. You're going to ask Fangs to meet with you again. And then we're going to get more information and find my mom. And he's like, cool. And so he kind of goes with the plan. Then it cuts to Reggie talking to, I guess, Archie and Mad Dog again. Or is Mad Dog at the party? Yeah, I think he is. So they're all at the party. They're all jamming.
Like, why are you here? Who invited you?
Yeah.
Huh?
So he basically gets like drunkenly angry about everything. And Cheryl's like, get the F out of here. You're such a loser. And it was just a random scene. I think like nothing really comes of that. Except like
it
later
kind of
on,
was
Archie,
just there to put Archie and Reggie into a scene together like later on.
Right. Yeah. So that's what happens. Then I love this moment too. Actually, FP like comes in because like someone calls the cops and he's obviously the sheriff.
It was so funny because like he's like somebody call the cops. He's like, it's too loud. I'm like, isn't Thorncliffe like on its own like property? And she even says that she was like, who called the cops? Like, we don't even have neighbors for like miles. Like, who are we? Annoying. It was just
like,
funny how she said that.
Like, why is this happening?
Yeah.
And then he's like, it was someone named Honey, and then her face is like, I'm gonna kill this motherfucker,
Honey.
So she's like, I'm like, it's war now. But one of my favorite moments is when FP sees Jughead, and I feel like now they love like the fact that he says boy, the way he says boy. So now he was like, boy, you better not be drinking what's in that cup. And then it cuts to Jughead holding a cup of whatever, and he like dead stares his dad and just like dumps it to the side.
Yeah. After you let your son like run a fucking biker gang all season, you got him tattoos for his friends. That's all cool. He's having a little shot of like whiskey. You're gonna freak out.
You're gonna freak out. No, and that's the thing. I wanted to keep this moment as like an isolated moment. Now that you're mentioning all those other things, I'm like, true. He's done so many worse things.
I know, but again, we're connecting it to season 3, and we have to stop doing that because I do feel like this is a reset season.
For sure, 100%.
Comparing those two things, they don't make sense. But like,
all. Yeah. And so, when he says like, what's in the cup, it was such a cute little comedic moment. And the way that like even Cole Sprouse like acted it out, I was like, this was so like, such a fun little nugget. And I wish Riverdale was
and you know what though? There was a lot of moments like that. I was watching kind of the side parts of that whole party, and like you can see KJ laughing and talking to someone, like even like Veronica talking to Betty and Jughead. Like everything felt so real, and like this just felt like a house party. Like we were just watching a house party.
Even later on, like when I think there's a scene where they're in class again and they're like learning English, and it cuts to like the entire classroom, and Tony's like twirling her hair in the background. It was like so cute. They hold these really silent moments, and I was like, this isn't boring to me. I don't know about you guys, but this isn't boring to me. I've been waiting
for this forever. It's true.
I'm enjoying the setup. I'm enjoying us just sitting with characters in silence. Like I'm good with that. Like I don't need
it. Like, makes a monster. Me feel like I'm in Riverdale, and like I think that's what the show is supposed to do from the beginning. Like I want to feel like I'm in this small town.
Right.
But last season it was like, where am I? Am I in a fifth dimension? Like in Riverdale? Like,
am I in Nancy Drew? Also on the CW.
Oh wow!
I'm just like cross promoting everything.
You're plugging all their shows, all their Wednesday night lineup. You got it.
No, actually, All Americans on Monday nights now. So.
Oh shit! Okay.
I know the schedule too. Anyway, Archie and Reggie are talking, and he says, "How did you get that black eye?" And he basically admits that it's his dad. And I love the scene so much. He says something along the lines of
amazing.
Yeah. Ugh. So Reggie says, I always got jealous of the relationship that you had with your dad. And when we found out what happened to your dad, all I kept thinking was like, what if that happened to my dad instead? And I was like, yo,
it was literally like first of all, Charles Melton, his acting was amazing. I have to say, like he acted so well, and same with KJ. And I think for an episode that I was sort of waiting for a little more of a connection to the first one. Yeah. Because I was like, is Archie going to bring it up? Like that his dad just died. Like I get it. It's been a couple of months, but like still like your dad just died, and having it inserted into this moment of like, like Reggie dealing with Fred's death and like kind of comparing their friendship and like, knowing his dad his whole life. Oh my God. Like I was almost going to cry again. I was like, this is so powerful.
Yeah. It was really well done. And it it was almost like shocking to see because it's something that we hadn't seen from Reggie's storyline.
For sure.
And him getting that emotional. I was like, this is amazing. Like they seriously could have done it like 2 seasons ago.
Oh my God.
So
oh my God.
It just makes me happy that they finally got there. So Archie's like, so what are you going to do now? And Reggie says like, well, you already called him out. So he's not going to like beat me up in like real life. Like he's not going to beat me up outside of home. But now I need to like do something about it. He's like, it's on me. I need to take a stand. I need to like fight against him. And so he goes into his dad's garage and he breaks his dad's car's window. And he's like, I'm gonna break his window. And even Archie's like, you know, like you can like try to talk to each other or like do something more like diplomatic or something. And Reggie's like, fuck this. And he just like breaks the window.
It was cute.
But I still loved
really
it.
Cool
I was
moment.
like, even Archie was like, whoa, like it reminds you that they're still kids. And like these are moments that like, yeah, you would do that if you were like a 17, like angry 17-year-old. And you would be like Archie being like, yo, that's crazy. I can't believe you just broke your dad's window. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it really brought me back to them being young kids.
It was beautiful. It was so beautiful. And like, that's the thing when I was trying to say, like, all these little moments, they're so easy to write, but they speak like volumes. And like to have these little moments, like, this is all we ever wanted. And it just feels so real. It makes the show feel so effing real.
Like, thank you, Riverdale.
I'm so impressed, you know? I'm so impressed.
So anyway, we're cutting back to the next. We cut to the next day, and it's an English class, and everybody's bored. It looks like the beginning of Britney Spears's music video. Remember that one where they're all sitting bored in class? So whatever, everybody's bored. She's like twirling her hair, and then I think Betty realizes that Jughead is like basically comatose, so he's not even paying attention, and she pulls him aside, and she's like, honestly, you're so much better than this. You have to go to Stonewall. Like it's where you need to be. And she's like, don't worry about us. We'll make it work. And I was like, famous last words. Like, why would you jinx your relationship like that? And she's like, now go run to your classroom. Like, I was like, why does he have to
He has to go right now.
He literally ran so hard as if like a bear was chasing him.
Yeah.
It was so random. I was like, okay, cool. Like,
and they like cut to the shot of him running out. I was like, hey, we didn't need that.
And then it comes back to Betty, and Betty's like, I'm so proud of you. Like,
she's like, nailed it.
Just keep running faster. So random. Anyway, whatever. Then it cuts to Archie and Reggie talking just to kind of like cover off what happened. And he's like, so how are things going with your dad? And he's like, well, I think that like it sent a good message. I don't think he's going to be coming around like school or practice anymore, which is sick. And Archie's like, good. And then they had a really cute like bro moment. They literally said like,
it was so cute.
Bros. And he's like, bros for life. And I was like, I
love it.
Adorbs. I love this. This is what I wanted. I'm happy. So then it cuts to Veronica at the Pembroke. She's about to leave for school or whatever. And the paparazzi are out her window, like they're out her door. She can't even leave the apartment. And then finally she's like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to go out there.
Fuck this. I got this.
Yeah. So she goes outside and she says, I will hold my first, last, and only press conference tonight at the Speakeasy, but I need to sing a song first. Like, I need to do a number in a leotard,
you know
and
what?
then I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
What were you going to say?
I don't know. I just wasn't feeling the performance.
I was going to ask you how you felt about it.
I just felt like it was really random. Like, I think that they're all very talented, and I think she killed it. I just felt like it was unnecessary. Like, I didn't need to see that in the middle of all of this.
I know what they were doing.
Yeah, I get it.
Number one, the song comes from the musical Chicago, all that jazz. Right. And I've literally been waiting for this ever since they announced that she had a speakeasy. Like, you can go back to like the beginning of podcasts, whatever, season 2, all of our podcasts. I was like, I found out that they had a speakeasy. I was like, I was ready for Cabaret. I was ready for Chicago. So this song has been like a long time coming for me personally. Also, on top of that, Chicago is all about spinning the truth and the press using the press essentially to get away with something. And that's why they kept cutting between her singing that song and then her doing the interviews with the rest of the press. There's some scenes that are like that in Chicago.
I like that. I like that you like broke that down. But when I think of Veronica, I think of like this girl who, because I guess I'm missing this connection of like her as a performer. Like I get that she owns a speakeasy, that's cool, but like Josie was the entertainer for that, or like someone else was the entertainer. Like I don't understand her connection as a character to a entertainer. When I see Veronica, I'm like, she's a powerful lawyer, she's a politician, she's got a way with words, like she's super confident. Like that's how I see her, you know, using her skill set. Not as like a fucking jazz dancer. So for me, I love the moment where she does the press conference. I love that because she's done that with her mom when her mom was running for mayor. Like she did that too.
Right.
That's what I see. But I didn't get the connection of her dancing. That's all I'm saying.
I totally understand what you're saying. It definitely didn't have to be her because she was like, hold up. I need to do like this dance
like,
number before I do a pure press conference. Like, didn't make any sense.
It just didn't. I didn't get that.
I was like, all right, I'm a run with it. This is like a Riverdale moment for me. So I was like, okay, I'll just go with it. And she did a decent job with the song and the dance.
No, that's what, like, she still did really well. I just don't know how it relates to her as Veronica Lodge, the character.
Fair enough. That's totally fair. But to your point, I think that she's the one character that needs to be the most cleaned up in terms of her connections and ties to all of the crap that happened last season. Like she has a speakeasy, she has all this like the mob drama and all the stuff that's happened with her dad. Like it's carried over for so many seasons that I
don't really mind that. Like I'm not even that scared about those storylines because I feel like they can somehow make them make sense.
Right.
You know? Whereas like the farm and like Alice and like this Charles guy, like that seems a bit more far-fetched to me than Veronica's storyline.
That's fair. Like just the dancing basically is what you're trying to say.
Yeah, I just didn't get it. And then like, why is like Tony on stage? Like I'm like, what's going on? Like what? Like now that you said the meaning of the song, I understand. I'm just saying it as a character. Why she's a jazz dancer?
Totally. She's like, especially like in that moment, she's like, I'm stressed out. I need to like release my energy by dancing and singing on stage. Yeah, a choreographed dance. Anyway, so she does that. She basically says like, you know, like, what is said in the papers is true, but I only did it because my dad forced me to do it. Like, so she kind of clears her name that way, which is kind of cool. And then it cuts to, I guess, the next day, Archie and Veronica are doing homework in the lounge. Once again, an amazing high school moment that all we just wanted to see all season was that. So they're doing homework and he's like, yo, are you like applying for Harvard or whatever? And she says, yeah, I am, but I think I need to make a modification. Instead of using the lodge name, I think I'm going to use my mom's surname, which is Gomez. And he's like, yo, you're going to be like Veronica Gomez now? And she's like, I was going to put Monica Posh, but like, I'm not about that life. It's like, she has so many fake names that I'm like, which one are you going to choose? But you know
what? Now that I'm thinking about this, I think this is the segue into her meeting her sister, and I bet you the sister goes to Harvard or something.
You're absolutely right.
Because they're gonna meet, and they're not gonna know that like they're sisters, because like or like she's not gonna know she's her sister because like her last name is Gomez.
Her last name's Gomez. You know? Exactly. Yeah. I think you're definitely right. She's probably she's like an admissions student or something. Yeah,
or like it's gonna be like her, like to show her around the campus or whatever. Right. You know.
And yeah, so Archie kind of ends that scene by saying like, "Ooh, what's like Veronica Gomez like?" And she was like,
"He was so effing cute in that scene. Like, adorable. I love KJ Apa. Like, he's so effing cute, and he plays it so well.
He did a really good job. It reminded me of how much I loved Archie this episode. Yeah, you know, like
for sure.
Like if you remember last season around this time, like he was running away from the cops and he went to jail and no. Like he went through so many moments where we were like, he was our LVP for half the season. Like this season. Totally normal kid, like love him. I love his acting. Like it was great. He was just enjoyable to watch on screen. So then it cuts to, I guess, Cheryl walking through the hallway, and she passes by the principal's office, and she was like, "What's wrong, Miss Bell?" Who's like, I guess, the secretary. And she's like, "Step away, Cheryl. Like, get away from here," because there's bees like swarming the entire freaking.
She like
office.
Put a fucking honeycomb on.
She put a full honeycomb.
Like, how do you do that,
girl? This bitch is so crazy. Like, I can't believe. Like, I know it was fake and shit, but like, I couldn't stop laughing. I was like, she's insane.
I was dying.
Like, you forget how crazy Cheryl could be.
Yeah.
And then she does something like that. And I'm like, yo, she's fucking bananas. But I love her so much.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, I hope you're not allergic. Toodles. Like, she just like dips. And like, that's the thing. Like, all of these like little shenanigans, all these petty moments are just leading up to something amazing. And I can't wait to see what it is. I hope that he's not, by the way, I just hope that he's not the one that dies at spring break. Because I feel like that's like so random. But anyway, we'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
Then it cuts to Charles and Betty, and they're talking, and Betty has to admit to Charles, like, yo, just as a FYI, I told Kevin about mom and how the fact that she's, you know, an informant. And Charles like loses his mind, as he should, because Betty, what's wrong with you? He's like, are you crazy? Like, how could you tell someone who's like that emotionally damaged? Like, he's fucked up. And in that moment right away, like, Kevin comes down the stairs. He's like, it worked. Like, I'm going to meet up with Fangs. Like, it's happening. And he tells them where they are. And it was funny because as I was like, you know, making the notes or whatever, I also wrote down, like, with the caveat, like, if Kevin's lying about this, I will kill him.
I don't think he can. No, because then he's dead. He'll be dead. Yeah.
Like, there's no coming back to that. So anyway, but he does say, like, they're in an abandoned motel behind the Maple Barrens, and he does say, like, by the way, like, the entire area is like armed. He has guns. He's building something like secret, and so you know, Charles is basically like, oh shit, we gotta like move before this gets even worse. And that's kind of how that storyline ends off. And then it cuts to the final scene, or one of the final scenes, which is Jughead talking to his dad and his sister. And he's like, just letting you know, like, I'm not going to be here during the week. I'm going to come home on the weekends only. Don't worry. Like, I'll miss you guys, but like, I'll be back. It's not a big deal. And then we get a little bit of a nugget of information from FP, who like held on to this information till the very end of the episode. So you obviously know it's important.
I was like, okay.
So he says that, you know, your grandpa, like my dad, went to Stonewall as well. And Jughead's like, no way. Like, I can't believe that there's like a connection there. And FP does say, he's like, yeah, until he like literally never came back from that school and like abandoned me. And I was like, I was trying to do the math about it all. I was like, I'm not even going to try to do the math because like that's going to be too complicated. But
no, like he never came back, or did he mean like he like dropped out of it and like became like a nothing? Like he didn't do anything with his life.
Oh, is that
I think that's what he meant. I think he meant like one day he just quit the school, started smoking, and like basically became like a drunk, like useless person.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if like he meant that like something happened at the school and like he disappeared or something. And I was like, oh,
no.
Like nobody ever looked into that. Like that sounds kind of interesting. But anyway, so he kind of sets up the scene, and he's like, you know, like my dad was a fall down, but you know, you're going to be great at this. And then Jughead's like, I sure hope so. And then of course it cuts to a final sequence, which is the flash forward that we saw in last season. But now they're all in the woods, and they're like calling for Jughead's name. Like they're calling Jughead's name. They're all looking for him in the woods. Yeah. It does cut to Betty at some point, and I'm trying to piece together whether or not this was before or after like they burn his beanie. Like, because her face was more like
before, no?
But her face almost looks like, Jughead, where is you, bro? Like, I cannot find you. Like, it doesn't look like she's as passionately scared. It's almost like she's faking it because she knows like where he is, or like I don't know. Or maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments below. But to finish off this like episode, let's answer that question. What do you think now that we kind of have another second flash forward? What do you think this is
what I'm thinking. Okay, guys?
Okay, go.
And if you haven't seen this film, it's called The Skulls with Paul Walker. Oh my God. Is Kerr Smith in that movie?
Is he?
Oh my God. Maybe not. But it was the 90s movie with Paul Walker and someone else. And it's basically about this secret society that exists in basically like their version of Harvard. So what I'm thinking is, there's some next level secret society at this like prep school, and I feel like they've somehow recruited Jughead, and like something is like about to go down.
Okay.
With all of that, and maybe Honey, like Principal Honey's like involved in that too.
Ooh.
Like maybe there's some connection with Honey and that hot ass writer teacher.
Living. That's a pretty...
Right?
That's pretty on point.
I literally thought about it like 30 minutes ago.
You're like, I discovered the whole moment. Well, we do know that...
Okay, you know who's in it? Joshua Jackson and Paul Walker.
Joshua Jackson's in it. I just looked
Joshua
it up myself.
Jackson is with freaking Kara Smith in Dawson's Creek. Like,
right.
I don't know. I definitely feel like there could be some underground, like, fraternity or secret society element to this season, which I'm totally down for. Like, that sounds really, really effing cool.
There
and scary,
has to be some...
but not like in a weird way.
There definitely has to be some layer of that for sure. Because it's a prep school. Like, there's always that, like, secret society vibe to that. Kind of, and
that's why they recruited him, and especially if the grandfather was there,
yeah,
there's definitely some sort of like foresight,
some
like connection
for sure
there. Yeah,
we also know that, you know, there is, we haven't seen it yet in flash forward, but we did see it in a trailer that dropped over the summer where Jughead's in a coffin. So we know that he's in a coffin at some point in time.
Oh, they're gonna like thing him.
So what my current theory is, he's not dead, but they did kill someone, like, by accident. Jughead, like, has to run away now. Like, they find him in a coffin, then they have to, like, fight somebody. Maybe they fight him and kill him by accident. Maybe it's one of his classmates. Maybe it's somebody from his new school. Like, I feel like it has to do with someone from the new school being dead, and now Jughead has to, like, run away or act as if he wasn't there this whole time. And then that's why we see him like looking for him in a box. Cause I don't know. There's something.
I definitely think like if it's something to do with some sort of secret society, I can definitely see Principal Honey being murdered or killed or something. And then like they all have to cover it up or some shit like that.
Yeah, I can see that too. Especially if he is involved in that. Yeah. Like you said, the secret society situation.
Yeah.
Let us know what you guys think about that particular, like, what are your theories? We want to know, because it's starting to get juicy already, and it's not like a level of annoying juicy. It's more like, I actually genuinely want to figure it out, but I'm not too concerned about it because it's a flash forward. Like, they did it really well in that regard, where they're not beating you over the head with a mystery every episode. They're basically alluding to the fact that there's something coming, so pay attention to the show. You know what I mean? Like, every little moment is a clue. So it's very exciting to watch it in this format for sure, in my opinion. All right. Are you ready to get into our recap roundups?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Recap roundups. Best moment.
What was your best moment?
My best moment, I think it's going to go to Reggie and Archie talking at the bus stop. I think it was something that really caught me off guard. I didn't really expect to feel so effing emotional with Reggie and Archie talking. And I think just creating a moment in the episode where it kind of pauses and lets you connect the season opener with this one and Fred's death and, you know, Luke's passing. Like, it kind of all we needed was that one scene to connect those two episodes. And it was huge. And I loved it. Yeah. And I think it shines a light on Reggie's character a little bit more too. And Charles Melton like played it like beautifully. It was just something that really caught me off guard, and I was like really impressed by it. So
same. I think it was a really great moment. It was one of my favorite moments too.
Yeah.
But outside of that, of course, Cheryl. Just every moment with Cheryl this episode was amazing. It was my best moment. But I'll give it to the slow motion down the hallway. Of course, I have to give it to her for that because that was the best. For sure. She's just a fun watch. I love her so much.
She is. She's amazing.
WTF moment.
What was your WTF moment?
WTF moment, I think for me, I think I'm gonna have to say when Kevin was like, Edgar has guns now. I was like, holy shit! Like, this is on like some next level, like lethal. Militia. Like, okay, like how did he get guns? That kind of caught me off guard because I'm like, how are they gonna deal with it now? Like now, like Charles has to like call his FBI like department and be like, we need to go in with guns.
Backup.
It can't just be Betty and Charles like going. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was kind of random, but I guess I feel like cults do like get to that level of crazy. You know what I mean? So yeah, I guess there's some realness to there. My WTF moment, it's a little loose because I did really enjoy this episode. There weren't any moments where I was like, what the fuck is happening? Like, which is kind of new for us. It's like a very new experience for us to be like, like not having a
not
major
a moment.
WTF moment. So my WTF
Yeah.
moment was just seeing Kevin back in the woods, like for the 75th time in this series. Like we're in season 4 and he's still in the woods. Like, come on. But whatever. But like I said, it's not even that big of a WTF moment, but
Yeah.
it's all I could really give this episode because it was a pretty solid episode.
MVP.
Who's your MVP?
My MVP is gonna go to Archie Andrews. He was
Yep.
he was amazing. He was, you know, from being a support system for Reggie and like calling him out, and then like being so cute with like Veronica. Like he's just such a freaking cute character. I love him. Like
I heart him. He good.
you know, and you're right. Like from last season where we saw him like escaping the jail, like getting
Right.
attacked by a bear. Guys, he got attacked by a bear.
He got attacked by a bear and he was in a coma and he almost died.
What the fuck were they
He had a
doing
fever dream for an
last
entire
year?
season, for an entire episode.
Like, so coming off of that, I'm just like, he is such a huge pivotal like character in the show, and he's playing it so well, and like they're writing him so well so far, 2 episodes in. So he's my MVP.
Totally. On the side tip, I'm giving it to the other redhead of the show.
Yes, totally.
Cheryl,
Yeah.
at Cheryl Bombshell, always and forever. She is so entertaining.
Amazing.
I love her so much. She's my favorite person.
It wouldn't be
in
the
the
same
world.
without her, you know, and
Yeah.
that's really like weird to say because she's not the core 4. So, you know, for someone who's on the outside of that, she holds the show. Like she's amazing. Like on Twitter, everyone was talking about Cheryl. You know?
she was on fire. They wrote an amazing episode for her and she just acts it out so perfectly. I love you, Madeleine Petch.
LVP.
What was your LVP?
My LVP, I'm gonna have to say FP Jones. I just feel like he's really weird, and like he sucks at being a cop. Like, why doesn't he have like deputies to like go and like handle high school house parties? Like, he's the sheriff. Like, why is he
He literally is
on,
like the only cop
Thorncliffe?
that they could pay for to show up to these things
It's just
all the time.
And guys, I'm really just kind of picking here. Like I don't really care. Like, I'm just kind of choosing one to choose one because everyone was amazing, but. He's just like, I really hope he has a bigger part in this season.
Yeah.
And he actually is a really good sheriff this season. Because like last year he sucked. So
yeah, I agreed. And to your point, I did struggle too with figuring out who my LVP was. I went with Reggie's dad because he was obviously a douchebag.
Yeah, the daddies lost this episode.
Yeah.
And
those
also,
daddies
I feel
lost
like,
and then we gained
how did you
daddies in other ways.
How did you not tell your son that, like, his whole entire life, you never told your son that your father went to this crazy, like, Ivy League, like, prep school? Like, his whole life.
He's like, P.S. Your dad went to Stonewall. I'm only
he was
telling
a
you
writer,
right now.
too. Like, none of that. Like,
None of it.
But, like, again, the writing made sense because then he backed it up by saying, I chose not to tell you because I didn't want you to, like, have that preconception in your head. And I love that reasoning, and that's another reason why, like, the writers, like, I feel like they're paying attention because like they're closing up those little holes too, you know. 100%.
Super proud that they are able to say normal things to give normal reasons as to why things happen.
Exactly.
So good.
And recognizing that their audience is smart.
Yeah.
And the audience picks up on that shit, so make it make sense, you know.
Yeah, 100%.
The best line.
What was your best line?
Best line, I was kind of thirsty for one because I was like, I haven't really heard anything, and then you had yours. But at the end, when Veronica's like, the lodge name is tarnished now, like the Madoffs or the Corleones.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, the Corleones were sick, girl. Like, what are you talking about? Like, yeah, they were mafioso, but like, I'd die to have Corleone as my last name.
You're like, don't be talking about the Corleones like that, bro.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell?
But it was cute.
Yeah. My best line, and like to your point, just really quickly before we move on, they're not giving her those psycho lines that they used to give her. Do you remember these crazy fucking lines?
They used to, but I do feel like out of all of them, she is the one that still gets them a little bit more than the others.
Yeah, like this is probably the closest thing to that, but even this was like not as insane as the things that she used to say.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So I was down for it. My best line is gonna go once again. This is just a full out Cheryl mode for me this episode. When she's talking to Mr. Honey, she says, "Your name might be Honey, but I'll always be the queen bee. You have no power over me." And then she does a full hair flip, like flips into her face, like into his face. I was living, so happy.
Living so hard.
Still not sure what his connection is. Like, maybe he's a Blossom with like a dyed hair. Like, I don't know.
That's
what the
what I
situation
thought
is.
too. Because I'm like, this girl has no family left over, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it'd be cool if like she had a long lost cousin or
He's
something.
like, I'm your uncle. That's why I was being mean to you. I'm living in the basement. That's why I called the cops. I was trying to sleep.
Oh my God.
I don't know.
Maybe he's called Honey because like she's maple syrup and he's honey.
Yeah, guys, I definitely think that there's a connection there. Like, just knowing that they pit them together right away, right off the top, like there is this instant rivalry. There has to be connection there. You're right. Maple, honey. Somebody took over like the sweet business, and it wasn't.
It's like
honey,
they're fighting over
maple.
like what tea, like addition to tea, like who's gonna win.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna put maple syrup in your tea, or you're gonna put honey in your
like
tea.
what is
like,
your like? Do you want one with like a lower glycemic
who's gonna
index,
win?
or do you
Yeah.
want one with like, you know, natural honey that's like unpasteurized? You know, like what do you do? Anyways, that is the episode, guys. Quick announcement, as NB mentioned at the top of the episode, we are having a contest for you guys to win a $50 Amazon gift card as well as a custom Riverdale pop socket. All you need to do is go on iTunes at any given time from now until December, I think it's 14th, and before, I think we're doing it right before the mid-season finale, and all you need to do is send us a review us, review our channel, review our podcast, give us 5 stars, 4 stars, whatever you like, hopefully something along those lines, and you will be entered in a draw to win that prize. And it's that easy. That's it. It's free. We're just kind of like low-key bribing you. So just do it. It's fun. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I'm going to take the time to thank our patrons of the episode. We got our Rewinder squad. Thank you to White. We got our Lit Rewinders. Thank you, Tina Ann, Sarge, Serena, Soleil, Kate, and Jessica. And thank you to our Mommy Rewinders, Becca, Sarah, Tamala, and Grace.
Thanks, guys. And if you would like to join our Patreon family, check us out at patreon.com/recap_rewind. If you join, you'll get access to all things Recap Rewind, exclusive content, and updates.
And also make sure you guys are checking us out on all of our socials, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and you can find us on Google Podcasts, Spotify, and iTunes. Make sure you guys are liking, make sure you guys are subscribing, follow, review, and comment to stay engaged with us at Recap Rewind. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.